Guys, I asked what's challenging you this week and how can I support you? God, everything's a bit rambling now. Okay, so in response to my question, it would be great if there was more people actually answering, and so I could get more work out there or more information out there, but it will happen as we grow. So one of my things is ask me what's challenging you, and let me see where I can help you. And a suggestion was put forward about finishing things. Why do we have a challenge at finishing things, or how can we go about finishing things? Well, there's a couple of things that can actually work. First of all, let's have a look at the reason why we're not finishing things. A lot of times we're not finishing things because it goes counterproductive to our core belief about ourselves. If our core belief about ourselves feeds into the story that I'm not good for anything, that I don't actually produce anything, I don't really need or I wish not to be seen, I wish not to be recognized for the things that I am creative, which is the shy inner shadow of ourselves, which has been hurt in the past, then we will do everything in our power not to complete. The other thing is also incompletions means that we are generating the stress hormones in the body. And some of us are so accustomed to, so trained to, and in a way addicted to the stress hormones in our body, that we will make sure that we don't complete things, because as long as we're not completing, there is a little button hitting us in our head and anywhere in our body where we get the tightness, the tension, the discomfort, that's basically encouraging the body to pump out as much adrenaline as possible and then produce more of our stress hormones. And as we produce the stress hormones, we have our ups and downs in the body, with the mind, and the way we talk to ourselves. So it fulfills that secondary gain that we have, which is if I punish myself enough, I may one day merit an award. I may one day merit an acceptance. I may one day merit love. And so we have the self-punishing inner imp that needs to tell us constantly, you can't do that. Because, and it will look the other way when we're just at the end of the finish line, it will look the other way and distract us. So distractions are a mechanism that the inner imp that works on behalf of our core beliefs about our success, about our value, about our deservingness, and starts sabotaging the completion of projects. Also, if we don't know what's going to come into our lives after something has completed, we have a space of the unknown. We might have a future project or a future idea of what's going to happen once that project is completed. And if we have the idea of something that's going to be completed and something new is going to start, there is still a space of starting something new. There is still a space of the unknown. And the mind fears the realm of the unknown because it doesn't feel in control. And when it doesn't feel in control, it needs to hold on to the familiar, this project, this idea, this thought, this story that I've told myself over and over again is uncomfortable, but it's familiar. And so I need to stay in this zone. So that's another way that we hold on to our inner core beliefs and our lack of completions. Okay, so we don't deserve to complete because we're not good enough people. We've never achieved anything of success, so why should I do this? Secondly, we're afraid of the unknown. And thirdly, we are gaining the stress hormones as a result of not completing anything. Not completing sometimes might be the inner saboteur actually creating a comfort nest around the dangers that are outside of a completion. And so we need to start talking to the part of ourselves in a proactive way, in a loving way. The part of ourselves that's looking at a completion needs to be encouraged to be more creative about what she's going to do, which is another reason why a lot of the good coaches, the big coaches out there, invite you to plan celebration in terms of this project completing or this thing ending. What is your celebration? For a while there, back then, I'm not sure if it's still going on, there was a lot of people who had divorce parties, divorce receptions and things, you know, once there was a completion of the final divorce ending. And a completion is, and you know, there is that sense of grief when a divorce is finalized, whether we want it, whether it's needed, whether it's essential that we have a divorce or a separation or whatever. We have a sense of grief and a sense of loss that happens. And so with that sense of grief and loss, we dread, and the same thing with any projects that we are in the process of completing, just on the over the edge and we're about to complete, we then sabotage or delay or procrastinate or distract ourselves with something else. And that is because the mind is predicting a sense of loss and a sense of grief. And it needs to protect us against that grief. So the exact reason why people started celebrating wins, completions, end of a week, whatever, we need something to look forward to. We need to get into place either a vision board, a plan, a project foundation, a new friendship or a new space if it's coming to the end of a relationship or whatever, a new thing that we're going to undertake to replace or soothe, balm that emptiness. Many of us are now training and learning how to be in the unknownness, especially right now with the crisis that we have in terms of the quarantine and the coronavirus pandemic. So we are learning and practicing and choosing to allow ourselves to be in the unknown. And if you're allowing yourself to be in the unknown, I'm really happy for you. It takes a bit of practice, and a lot of the practice is around breathing. It's about writing, drawing, being playful, being creative. And a lot of the times when we're feeling uncomfortable at something new, we will procrastinate, we'll do it delay, we will distract ourselves with other people's dramas or create another drama of our own that will take us away from that idea of the unknown. So as I said, to counteract the idea of the loss, the grief, the unknownness, you can either start practicing being in the unknown. And I suggest you do that first thing in the morning as you're waking. Get a piece of pen and paper or have a journal that you write into automatically. Just pour whatever thoughts and feelings you have coming in onto that piece of paper, onto that journal, and then ask yourself, how would it feel if something new came into this space? And then just let yourself imagine how that new thing is going to make you feel. How would it feel if I created a new idea or a new identity around my business, around my project, around my relationships, around myself? And the new identity isn't about fitting into the expectations of another person. The new identity is, I'm a strong individual being. I'm respecting my needs. I'm creating good, healthy boundaries for myself. I'm needing more exercise so I can counteract the effects of perimenopause or menopause or overeating in the lockdown period. A productive plan of what you would like to receive. An artwork, whether it's sculpture, whether it's sketching, whether it's writing poems, whether it's painting, whether it's drawing, a creativity, whether it's getting in the kitchen and cooking yourself a healthy dinner, an exercise program that you enroll onto, something to fill that space with love and kindness for yourself. Or better still, an amazing practice around sitting and loving your inner child, or the inner woman in you, the adolescent, the woman, the child girl that's becoming a woman. A practice about nurturing the woman in you as you are now. Those practices, one of the practices about loving the woman you're in right now that comes to mind is the Jade Goddess exercises, the Jade Egg exercises. Womb massage, whatever you want to do is fill that space with nurturing energy for yourself. And what happens is if you actually connect with the womb area, do the womb massage and that kind of thing, you're going to stimulate more of your creative juices. So get creative, knitting perhaps, sewing perhaps. Okay, that is really good. And if it's about business, then get creative about business. Have a vision board about your business. Where is your business going from here? What is it that you want to create with it? What is it that you want to feel, sense, and see and be engaged in terms of your business. And that, my dear friends, is how you allow yourself to not fall into the saboteur pattern around incompletions, not finishing things. But above all of that, it's kindness with yourself, sitting with yourself and loving yourself instead of letting the inner chatter keep creating a cycle of punishment, creating a cycle of not enjoying who I am and who I can be. Okay. The self-punishment needs to now be swept out in a very gentle, very loving way. And accepting and loving yourself as you are needs to come into it now more. So I hope that makes sense. And Catherine, particularly if there is any questions or any leading things, by all means share any feedback. And guys, this hopefully is going to be a regular thing for me. So if, no, it is going to be, not hopefully, this is going to be a regular thing. This is my creativity coming out. So if you guys have any particular area you want to be supported in, then please, by all means, send me a private message. This will be put up on my YouTube, my Instagram, and my group in Facebook. So follow, share, whatever you want to. Please be mindful and join in. And I hope to keep supporting you. Thank you. Bye-bye.